This is Our League, an introduction to Canada's Grey Cup and the CFL. On the Canadian Football News Network, with CFNN anchors Celia and Kyle, special features reporter Margot, technology reporter Isabella, and Little Earl.
Welcome to the Canadian Football News Network. Our program takes an informative and fun look at the Canadian Football League and the Grey Cup. On today's segment, we'll do a recap of this year's season and the road to the Grey Cup 2010. Little Earl will also give us an overview of the CFL playoffs and how teams make it to the Grey Cup. And Margot will have a special feature on last year's Grey Cup, while our technology reporter Isabella checks in with another cool tech report. The CFL season runs from early June, when each team begins their training camps, until the end of November, when the big Grey Cup game is played. Each CFL team plays 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games. The preseason games don't count in the standings. They just give the coaches the chance to watch the players play before the regular season actually begins. After the preseason games, the coaches then decide who will make the team. Thanks, Celia. And now to explain the point structure in the CFL, let's go to our famous field reporter, Little Earl.
Thanks, gang. In the CFL, teams get 2 points for winning a game, 1 point for a tie, and 0 points for a loss. The 6 teams with the most points at the end of the regular season go into the playoffs, no matter if they're from the East or the West Division. Now, this means that sometimes more teams from one division might make the playoffs compared to the other division. That happened when the Edmonton Eskimos had more points than 2 teams in the East, so they made the playoffs but had to cross over into the Eastern Division. Because of the way this is set up, it's now possible for 2 teams from the East or 2 teams from the West to meet in the Grey Cup. In the CFL, the first-place team in each division gets what is called a bye and automatically gets a spot in the division final game in their home park. This is why CFL teams always try to finish in first place, so that they get the bye into the division finals and get an extra week of rest time.
Thanks, Little Earl. I was wondering about that stuff. Little Earl, tell us about how the CFL playoffs work.
The CFL playoffs begin the first weekend after the regular season concludes. This is usually in early November. There are 2 semi-final division matchups that weekend. They're usually played between the 2nd and 3rd place finisher in each division. The winners of the semi-final games then go on to play in the division finals against that first-place team that got the bye. The finals are always played in the home park of the first-place team. Now, the winners of those 2 big games go on to play in an even bigger game, the Grey Cup. Usually, the Grey Cup is played on the last Sunday of November. This year, I know I'll be there.
Little Earl, now I understand how hard it is to get to the Grey Cup. I can't wait to watch all those games. Me too. And now let's go to our special features reporter, Margot, who has a wonderful report on last year's Grey Cup game.
Thanks, gang. The 2009 Grey Cup was played in Calgary between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes. It was a fabulous day, and the Rider fans showed their pride by painting their faces green, while the Owls fans showed their team pride by painting their faces blue. Saskatchewan was leading for most of the game, but the Alouettes mounted a successful late-game comeback and won the Grey Cup by a score of 28-27. The Alouettes won the game on a 33-yard field goal by Damon Duval as time ran out. Duval had actually missed the first attempt, but Saskatchewan was penalized for having too many men on the field. This 13th man penalty proved to be devastating to the Roughriders and their fans, whose sad faces could not be masked by their watermelon hats. In contrast, the Alouettes and their happy fans celebrated winning one of the most dramatic Grey Cup games ever.
Thanks, Margot. I remember that game. It was so exciting. Let's now go to the CFNN newsroom to our technology reporter, Isabella, with a special report on the latest high-tech wizardry on football broadcast.
Thanks again. CFL television broadcasts have expanded with today's technology.
Over the years, football broadcasts have gone from black and white to early versions of color. We then see the emergence of high definition and now the wonders of 3D technology. The latest cameras are equipped with high definition lenses or 3D lenses to give viewers an experience that they've never had before. Of course, not all homes have the latest televisions or big screens to be able to watch the big game in this fashion, but soon everyone will. Technology is definitely changing the way that we watch our favorite sports. Thanks, Izzy. It's now time to review what we learned today. We learned that each CFL team plays 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games for a total of 20 games. We also learned that each team gets 2 points for a winning game, 1 point for a tie, and 0 points for a loss. We learned that the top 6 teams in the CFL make the playoffs, regardless of the division they play in. We learned that the first place finisher in each division automatically gets to play in the division final. And we learned that the winners of the 2 division final games play for the Grey Cup. That wraps up our informative video segments. We hope that you learned a lot this week. It's been a lot of fun this week on Canadian Football News Network. It certainly has been. Be sure to watch this year's Grey Cup and support your CFL team. Bye-bye, everyone.